You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after productivity coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives entrepreneurs the straight talk on personal productivity. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 232, Red Flag Clients, Recognizing the Warning Signs. If you're a business owner who wants to improve your time management and elevate your productivity so you can maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today, we are going to be diving into a very popular topic. So popular that I don't think I've had a single client that I've worked with that has not brought up issues of red flag clients, meaning the clients that are challenging and they're vampires of your time and your energy. They're not your ideal clients. And yet somehow they sneak through. You say yes and totally regret it. And when you say yes and you totally regret it, you start feeling like, why am I doing this? You might even feel like you're not loving your business. And you certainly feel like you should have known. And so today we are going to be talking all about the red flags and how to lean into taking a stance, having boundaries and standards around the clients you work with so that you can have a business that feels less stressful, that you can have a business that is much more profitable. Because this one area of your business can be a game changer in the way that you experience your business. So stay tuned. Before we jump in, I want to make sure that if you are new here, that you have subscribed to the podcast if you are getting value from each of the episodes I drop each week. I also want to invite you to check out ways to work with me. And you can do that by heading on over to amberdelagarza.com/work with me. And there you will see my private one-on-one coaching opportunity as well as Leverage Lab. Leverage Lab is my group coaching, training, and accountability program that is designed for business owners who want to learn how to be a business owner. You are so incredibly skilled at your special talent that you bring to the world. But do you feel like you have the skill sets to manage yourself, manage your time, manage the people that it takes to grow and scale? If not, I think that Leverage Lab could be a perfect fit. As I teach you how to leverage yourself, time, organization, and people to achieve your goals faster and more effectively. You can learn more by heading on over to amberdelagarza.com/leverage lab. And now let's get to the straight talk. Many of you became a business owner so that you didn't have to deal with shitty bosses. Among many, many other reasons, shitty bosses is way up there with why you wanted to become your own boss. Well, then I ask, then why do you choose to work with those red flag clients? Because now you find yourself catering to several shitty bosses, aka shitty clients. And I'm being really straight up with this because it is, as I said in the intro, so common. So let's call it like it is and have an honest conversation. Because what I have found is that sometimes when you're a business owner, and you don't get to talk to other business owners, you may be thinking you're the only one with shitty clients. Or maybe you're the only one that keeps ignoring the red flags. Or maybe you're the only one that's not seeing the red flags. And I'm here to tell you that is just not true. This is a PSA announcement that you are not the only one, but after today's episode, I hope you are much more aware of what those red flags are for you, or just in general, what those red flags could be, so that you can see them coming 100 miles away. And I do want to say that while you may not see the red flags initially, It may be that they're not being shown right up front, or perhaps they are and you're choosing to ignore them. But ignoring them comes at a cost. You see, red flag clients, or red flag potential clients, may I say, actually become vampire clients. They are sucking the resources out of you and your business. Resources like time, energy, creating stress, money, mental health, opportunity cost. You see, you only have so much bandwidth to work with so many clients. And so the opportunity cost that's lost is that you're working with a shitty client when you could otherwise be working with an ideal client. I want to go through some typical red flags of potential clients, and then I'm going to go through some typical common red flags of clients that you already have. Because like I said, not everyone's showing their true colors right up front. But I wanted to go through a general list of things that I hear from clients and other business owners, or in fact, I've experienced myself. So let's break this down into two different sections. Typical red flags of potential clients. They reschedule their discovery call and/or consultation more than once. Or maybe you have that discovery call or consultation, but they come off a bit combative. How about questioning your fees from the very beginning? Like really questioning them. Next, complain about past business relationships. And no doubt they will complain about you too. If they are offering this information up without being asked, or they're sharing stories of a previous relationship, business relationship, and they're the victim and everybody else is wrong, well, typically that's a red flag that the outcome of your relationship may not be any different. Or how about a red flag that your personalities just don't mesh with yours? Not everyone is for everyone, or you can't be for everyone. Your flavor, your style, your personality isn't meant to mesh with everyone. And so if you're meeting with a potential client and you have experienced being in a business relationship with a similar personality and it's not a fit, then I would say that's a red flag for working with you. How about getting the client agreement back with red lines all over it? They have decided they are going to edit your contract for you. Yes, steer away. How about asking you for services that you don't specialize in? So when you're meeting with them, they tell you everything they need and why it needs to be you that delivers that. That is definitely a red flag. Let's switch gears and say that there was no red flags before they actually became a client. And sometimes this happens. Sometimes it's not until after the business relationship has developed that red flags come up. And these may look like no call, no shows, consistently canceling scheduled meetings, maybe not implementing your advice, like over and over. They are paying you for your advice, but they are not receiving your advice. How about breaking your contact boundaries? So if you've communicated that you work Monday through Friday and you're available from this time to this time, do they continually reach out to you after hours and expect a response? Or are they reaching out to you, say, on your personal phone or via text message when you say all client communication is preferred via email and this phone number? Or perhaps, now that you're in relationship with them, you have to chase them down for payment. Like they're incredibly aware that they owe you, but they're avoiding you. And so you feel like you're always chasing down your payments. Or how about this one? They become incredibly needy. Now, this is one of those situations where you know typically what the relationship between you and your clients are. And sometimes clients become incredibly needy, like emailing every day, calling, texting, asking a lot of you and or your staff that seems to be outside of normal business procedure. How about you cannot make them happy? Every meeting they show up unhappy or complaining, or they're sending you emails of complaining or frustration or why things should be different. That creates a lot of stress and anxiety if you're meeting with your clients and you know you're anticipating there's going to be an issue because that is the track record they have with you thus far. How about this one? They're nice to you, they're respectful, but incredibly rude to your team. So your team is coming to you saying, so-and-so is sending nasty emails or is short with me or demanding to speak with you and will not give me the time of day to support them. Definitely a red flag. How about consistent scope creep? So you are really clear about what it is you do and the services you provide and what they've paid for, but they keep asking for more. They want more and more and more from you when it is clear it is outside of your contract or agreement. Okay, so those were just a few top-level common red flags either prior to becoming a client or during the client relationship. And I wanted to share those with you because, my red flags are going to be different than your red flags, but there are a lot of common red flags that say, I would rather not be in a business relationship with you because you are going to cost me, my team, my business, a hell of a lot of time, energy, stress, anxiety, opportunity cost, and you don't need that. When we're talking about productivity and we're talking about here at Productivity Straight Talk, increasing your profitability, decreasing your stress, and making time for what matters most, try taking on a few red flag clients and you are fighting against your own goals. It's incredibly hard to increase your profitability when you have clients that are sucking you dry with consistent scope creep or reaching out to you and contacting you all the time and taking up all of your resources of time. But I think you know that. I think you know the pain that comes with working with a non-ideal client or a client that has shown red flags and you've either ignored them or you weren't looking for them because you were maybe really excited about the opportunity to work with another client. Which brings me to my next section, which is why are you ignoring the red flags? Why? Why are you deciding to not trust your gut and not see these big red flags that are being waved and accept them for what they are? And I'm going to sum this up pretty simply. Scarcity. Say it with me. Scarcity thinking will always tempt you to look the other way when the red flags are being waved. Because let's think of it the other way. If you knew without a doubt that the next phone call into your business would be your perfect ideal client and or project, like you knew that this client was inevitably reaching out to your office, you would have no issue with telling the red flag client, no, thank you. But what happens is we think, well, if I don't take this one, when will the next client come? And if I don't take this one, how will that affect my business growth or keep my team busy or my revenue goals? And I would say that that's very short-sighted thinking because I know you've had these clients and you know what the cost is firsthand. But sometimes time has gone by and we make that smaller and we think it won't be like that again. And it's all because we are not so confident or thinking abundantly that says, no, thank you, next. No, thank you, next. I would love for you to switch your scarcity thinking into abundant thinking and knowing that if you're showing up and you're doing the right things in your business, that is it inevitable that a great client or project is coming for you next. And I would hate for you to say yes to a red flag client and then feel so taxed and overwhelmed or stressed out that you can't say yes to your ideal client Or worse, you say yes to that ideal client and can't give them your best because you have a vampire client sucking you dry. Another reason that you may be ignoring red flags is that you may believe that you can't just say no. That saying no seems so damn scary that you'd rather die 1,000 paper cuts with working with a red flag client than to just step up and say, no, thank you. Or perhaps you don't feel like you can say no because it was a referral from a family or friend, or maybe it's even a family or friend that wants to work with you. How about if a previous client reaches out to you and you know they were hell to work with last time? So you cannot say, I'm looking the other way, like, I just don't see it. I have no idea that this is going to be a troubled client. You know, but do you feel obligated because they're a past client and you feel like and believe that you can't say no? How about if that potential client is willing to pay you top dollar, even though your gut is saying, I believe I'd be selling my soul to the devil? I want to encourage you to find ways for you to say no, ways to gracefully say no and honor your own voice. So I came up with a few phrases that you can adapt and tweak and use as inspiration to put in your toolbox so that you can gracefully say no, thank you, next. I appreciate the opportunity to earn your business, but we are not a good fit for what you're looking for. Next. Perhaps your schedule is too full to take on this client or project. And I'm only saying to say these if they are true for you. But perhaps your schedule is full, and so you offer to refer them elsewhere. Another saying would be, based on the goals you shared with me, I don't believe I'm the person who could help you best. Or I'm the firm that can help you best. Or that our company is a right fit for your goals. Next, your project sounds exciting, but we don't specialize in that type of work or project. Next, our company, firm, business does not serve our clients that way. We specialize in, and then fill in the blank and be absolutely clear with what it is you do and how you serve your clients. This is a great one for potential clients to actually opt themselves out of wanting to work with you because you're standing your ground in what your company specializes in. And based on a conversation with them, it is clear that's not in alignment with their needs. And lastly, just say no, thank you. And I don't think that at this point, if this is a potential client, that you necessarily owe them any explanation. And I know this seems hard. I know that this can sound like, what? But stick with me here, because if it's a potential client or project, saying no thank you, period, they will be most likely on their way interviewing other people in your industry or field. Let them go down the street. But you're going to hear a different opinion if we need to find the words to fire a current client whom you already have a business relationship with. I'm going to share with you my thoughts on firing your red flag clients. My personal opinion is that you can't just fire a client without explanation. Now that you are in a business relationship with them, I personally believe you owe them clear, direct, and honest communication. That, in most cases, requires giving a specific reason why you are terminating the relationship, agreement, or contract. And that would mean that specific reason is the truth. It is the thing that is throwing the red flags. It is the thing that is either stressing you out or your team out, or it's that they are continually asking more of you than what has been agreed upon in the agreement, or they're breaching the agreement, or at the end of the day, if your agreement or contract has a clause You need to comply with what that termination clause is. Does it require you to give them notice? What type of notice? You want to make sure that you are in alignment with your own agreement. And if you do not have a termination clause in your agreement, this is a great time to explore that and to get that added to your contract so that when, not if this situation comes up, but when this situation comes up, you are incredibly clear on how to move forward and terminate your relationship with your client. Now, I want to tell you, none of this is easy. I am pretty much a straightforward, direct person. And I have to be honest with you, I don't find this easy to navigate. I feel like I want to help people and that I want to be of service and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But with all of that I just said, what I know with my years of experience doing what I do and serving my clients is that if what I want at the end of the day is for them to get results, for them to have an incredible experience, and that is the ultimate goal that I'm holding for them, I know that if they are showing red flags, that's not going to be the outcome of our relationship. So why not stop it before it starts? Why not allow them to go down the street and work with someone else that potentially they can have an amazing relationship with? Because all I know is that it's red flags for me. It's red flags for my business and my team. And that those red flags, based on history, have shown that that doesn't serve that client the best being in relationship with me. Now, if I'm thinking of it that way and holding my values and what matters most to me, which is exceptional experience and that my clients get results, then I know that it is the absolutely best and right thing to say no, thank you. And I also know that if I didn't see the red flags or there were no red flags and a relationship turns somewhere down the road, it is worth having a direct, clear communication with them, explaining to them what I see is going wrong. And if it can be corrected, perfect. And if it can't, we need to part ways. I want to encourage you to not settle for a whole bunch of shitty bosses because you probably had some in your past before you were a business owner. And I bet during that time you thought, man, if I was my own business owner, right? Like if I was my own boss, wouldn't that be amazing? And it is, and it can be. But do know that if you are not really sure about the choices you're making and the clients you choose to work with, you could be signing up for several shitty bosses. Now, I want to close this out and lastly say this. While I shared with you some common red flags, I have been alluding to, while these are common, there are going to be specific red flags that are your red flags because you've had past experiences that have not gone so well with clients. And I want to tell you to trust your gut. I'm going to pause there and repeat. At the end of the day, I want you to trust your gut. Because as I was making this list of red flags, I kind of had to laugh because I have a client that's been with me for over 5 years. And he is an amazing client. And he has never canceled on me last minute. And he has always been someone that takes action and is coachable and is dependable. But that's not how it started. And if you want to hear a bit about that, you can hear from my client Tim and his story back in episode 91. And it's called Stepping Up Your CEO Game, a Client Case Study with Tim Clothier. And in that episode, he shared how he canceled on me several times for our discovery call. And if you remember, that was one of my red flags. But I moved forward with working with him and meeting with him because after I actually got to meet with him, it was clear to me that this was a man that was overwhelmed, out of time, trying to make it, And that is exactly what I was able to help him with. And so for me, my gut said, let's work together. And I'm so happy that I didn't see that red flag as black or white, right or wrong, but filtered that through being probably a bit cautionary when we actually had our discovery call. And now we can completely laugh about it because he has been such an ideal client over the last 5+ years. And I wanted to share that to tell you that, again, trust your gut, have your standards, have your red flags and know what they are. Have your eyes wide open, be looking for them, have filters in your conversation to say, is this an ideal client or is this a client that I've seen and experienced before and this doesn't generally turn out good? And trust your gut. In closing, if you fail to notice potential clients' red flags or just plainly ignore their red flags and take them on as a client, you'll be soon waving a white flag in surrender. And I don't want that for you. So here's to working with the most ideal clients that you love serving, the most ideal projects that you feel inspired by. Because at the end of the day, you have chosen to be a business owner to create a life that you want by design. And I can't help to think that the clients you work with will have a huge impact on the joy that you feel going into the office and working each day. And that the clients you choose to work with will either inspire you to show up your best or perhaps bring out the worst in you where you're avoiding them and not communicating and not showing up and feeling stuck. And that is no place to be for you to aggressively go after achieving your goals in your business. I have loved having you listen to this episode of Productivity Straight Talk. And I sure hope you have found today's episode to be incredibly inspiring and valuable and moving you into more confidence and courage to say no, to navigate potential clients with eyes wide open so that you can avoid those vampire clients. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. If you want to take what you've learned here at Productivity Straight Talk to a new level, dive deeper, and get coaching, training, and accountability, then I encourage you to check out my Leverage Lab program. You can do so by heading on over to amberdelagarza.com/Leverage Lab. And lastly, be sure to subscribe if you have not already done so you don't miss a future episode. And I want to give a special thank you out to Maria VK, who recently left a review and said, "The great thing about this podcast is Amber's ability to give real solutions and break them down into digestible and useful content. Her podcast is impactful and efficient. You will not waste time listening to a host that fills their airtime with lots of chatter. Amber gets right to the point, and when she has guests, they do the same. I highly recommend this if you are looking for a solution you can incorporate immediately to increase your productivity." Wow, what an amazing review. And thank you so much for taking the time to leave that review for me, Maria VK. And as a reminder, if you are getting value from the episode, I would love to hear about it. But not just for me, it really allows others to stumble upon and find Productivity Straight Talk so that it can make an impact in their business and lives. So wherever you're listening to this episode of Productivity Straight Talk, be sure to take a few moments after today's episode and leave me a review. I would greatly appreciate it. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.